The stars stopped moving. That was the first sign something was wrong. Diho watched the view screen as his small merchant ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The bright streaks of light that showed their speed through space suddenly became still points again. Normal space looked peaceful. It always did. "We're in the Valrose system," Bora said from the navigation station. She was his wife and his best navigator. They had flown together for 15 years. But something is wrong. Diho leaned forward in his chair. "What do you see?" Bora's fingers moved across her controls. Her face went pale. "Ships, hundreds of them, no, wait, 50 large warships, military grade, they are blocking the entire system entrance." Diho felt his stomach drop. Military ships in deep space meant trouble, especially in numbers like that. "Can you identify them?" "Running scans now." Bora's voice was tight with worry. The computer beeped as it processed the data. Then the screen showed the results. "Oh no, Diho, those are Thal Dominion ships." Every spacer in the galaxy knew about the Thal. They were the most aggressive military power in known space. Their empire had grown by force and fear. They took what they wanted. They crushed anyone who stood in their way. Their ships were painted in dark red and black colors, war colors. "What are they doing here?" Diho asked. "This system is neutral space. It belongs to no one." "Not anymore," Bora said quietly. She pointed at the view screen. "Look." Dozens of civilian ships floated near the Thal blockade. They were all different sizes and shapes, ships from many different species. Some were cargo haulers like the Morning Star. Others were passenger vessels. A few looked like small family ships. None of them were moving. They just sat there in space, trapped. "They are not letting anyone through," Bora whispered. A harsh voice suddenly filled their ship's bridge. "Attention, unknown vessel. You have entered Thal Dominion space. Power down your engines and prepare to be inspected. Any attempt to flee will result in immediate destruction." Diho and Bora looked at each other. Their ship carried medical supplies bound for a small colony world. Food, medicine, and basic equipment. Nothing illegal, nothing valuable. But the Thal did not care about such things. "Should I power down?" Bora asked. "Not yet." Diho opened a communication channel. "This is Captain Diho of the merchant vessel Morning Star. We are carrying humanitarian supplies to the Kepler colony. We have all proper permits and documentation. This system is neutral space under galactic law. By what authority do you block our passage?" The reply came quickly. It was filled with dark amusement. "By the authority of strength, human. The Thal Dominion has claimed this sector. All ships must pay tribute or turn back. Those who refuse become targets for weapons practice." "We are just a small cargo ship," Diho said, trying to keep his voice calm. "We carry medicine for sick colonists. Children are dying. Please let us pass." "Tribute or turn back, human. Those are your only choices." Bora checked their cargo hold logs. "Diho, if we give them tribute, we will have nothing left to deliver. The colony needs everything we carry." "I know." Diho closed his eyes for a moment. Then he opened the channel again. "We come from Earth. We are humans. We have no military power. We are merchants and farmers. Surely the mighty Thal Dominion does not fear one small ship from a primitive world." There was a pause. Then laughter came through the speakers. Mean, cruel laughter. "Earth, the backward planet at the edge of known space. Your kind barely has space travel. You have no real military. Your ships are slow and weak. You are nothing to the Thal. You should be honored we even speak to you." The laughter continued. Diho could hear other Thal voices joining in. They were mocking him, mocking his home, mocking humanity. "You have one of your Earth hours to turn your pathetic ship around," the Thal commander said. "After that, we will test our new weapons on your hull. Maybe we will learn if humans burn the same color as other species. Now go away before we grow bored and fire early." The communication cut off. Silence filled the bridge of the Morning Star. Bora's hands were shaking. What do we do? Di-Ho looked at the trapped civilian ships on the view screen. So many people. So many lives held hostage by bullies with big guns. The Thal had been doing this for years, taking what they wanted, hurting whoever they pleased, and no one could stop them because they had the biggest fleet and the most powerful weapons. Send a distress signal, Di-Ho said quietly. To who? We're days away from any help. The nearest human outpost is. Send it toward Earth space, Di-Ho interrupted. Maximum power, emergency frequency. Bora nodded and began working on the controls. It will take days for anyone to receive it. Even if they do, what can they send? Earth has some patrol ships, but nothing that could face a Thal fleet. I know, Di-Ho said, but we have to try. The minutes began to count down. 58 minutes until the Thal opened fire. Di-Ho watched the other civilian ships. Some of them were trying to negotiate. Others were preparing to turn back. A few looked like they were considering a desperate run through the blockade. That would be suicide. The Thal ships were too many and too powerful. Signal sent, Bora confirmed. She looked at her husband with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry I brought us this way. If I had chosen a different route. This is not your fault, Di-Ho said firmly. He reached over and took her hand. The Thal are the ones doing wrong here, not you, not us. 45 minutes remained. Di-Ho could see the Thal warships on the view screen. They were massive. Each one was 10 times the size of the Morning Star. Their weapons could turn his ship into dust in seconds. There was no escape, no hope. Di-Ho, Bora said suddenly. Her voice had changed. I'm getting something strange on the long-range sensors. What kind of strange? An energy signature. I have never seen anything like it before. She studied her screens. It's big, really big, and it's moving fast, very fast. Another Thal ship. No, the signature is completely different. It's not like any ship in my database. Bora's fingers flew across her controls. Whatever it is, it's heading straight for this system. 30 minutes remained. Di-Ho stared at the sensor readings. Could it be help? Or was it something worse? In deep space, unknown things were usually dangerous things. How long until it arrives? He asked. Bora did the calculations. Her eyes went wide. If it maintains current speed, about 25 minutes. They waited. Every minute felt like an hour. The other civilian ships sent messages to each other. Fear filled every word. Some ships were already turning around, choosing to flee rather than die. Di-Ho did not blame them. He was considering the same choice. 20 minutes 15, 10. Di-Ho, Bora breathed, it's here. On the view screen, something dropped out of faster-than-light travel. It appeared right between the Thal blockade and all the civilian ships, right in the middle of the battlefield. It was a ship, but like no ship Di-Ho had ever seen. It was sleek and dark, almost black. It had smooth lines and a shape that looked more like a blade than a normal vessel. No lights showed on its hull, no markings, no identification. It just floated there, silent, still, waiting. Can you identify it? Di-Ho asked. Bora tried to scan the unknown ship. Her equipment gave confused readings. I cannot get a clear reading. It's like the ship is not fully there. The sensors keep sliding off it, but Di-Ho, I think it's human. What? The energy signature, deep in the core. It matches Earth fusion technology, but everything else is different, advanced, way beyond anything I have seen from Earth before. On the communication channels, the Thal were laughing again. Their commander's voice boomed across all frequencies. One small ship, one tiny vessel thinks it can challenge the might of the Thal Dominion. This day keeps getting funnier. Perhaps we will destroy you first, as a lesson to these other cowards. The dark ship did not respond. It just stayed there, silent and still, like a shadow in space. Di-Ho stared at it, hope and fear mixed in his chest. Who are you? He whispered. The black ship hung in space like a piece of night itself. No lights blinked on its hull. No engines glowed. It made no sound on any frequency. The Thal fleet's sensors swept over it again and again, trying to understand what they were seeing. The readings made no sense. On the bridge of the Thal command ship, Commander Vexter stared at his screens with growing confusion. "What is that thing?" he demanded. "Why can we not get proper readings?" His tactical officer shook his head. "The sensors cannot lock onto it properly, Commander. The hull seems to absorb our scanning beams. We can see it with our eyes, but our instruments say almost nothing is there." "Impossible. Every ship has a mass. Every ship has an energy signature." Vexter's claws clicked against his command chair. "Is it a weapon, some kind of bomb?" "Unknown, Commander. If it is a bomb, it is unlike any weapon we have encountered." Vexter growled low in his throat. The Thal did not like mysteries. They liked things they could understand and destroy. "Hail that vessel. Demand identification." The communication officer sent the hail. For long seconds, there was no response. Then a calm voice filled the bridge. It spoke in perfect galactic common language. "This is Captain Hyun Woo of the Terra Defense Force vessel Indomitable. I am here in response to a distress signal from civilian ships." Vexter's eyes widened. "Terra, you mean Earth," he started laughing. His crew joined in. The bridge filled with mocking laughter. The primitives sent one ship, one tiny vessel to face the entire Thal fleet. "This is the best joke I have heard in years." Captain Hyun Woo's voice remained calm. "I am requesting that you withdraw your blockade and allow these civilian vessels to pass. They have broken no laws. This system is neutral space." "Was neutral space," Vexter corrected, still chuckling. "Now it belongs to the Thal Dominion, as will you in a few moments. Tell me, human, does Earth even know where you are? Did your primitive leaders send you here to die?" There was a pause. When Hyun Woo spoke again, his voice was still calm, but there was something in it now, something hard. "I will ask one more time, withdraw your fleet. Allow these ships to pass. No one needs to be hurt today." Vexter's laughter died. "You dare give me orders? You command one ship. I command 50 warships, each one powerful enough to destroy a planet. Your Earth has no real military. We have studied you. You have some patrol vessels, some cargo ships with guns attached, nothing more. You are farmers playing at being warriors." "We are what we need to be," Hyun Woo said quietly. "Then you need to be dead." Vexter leaned forward in his chair. "I will give you a gift, human. I will make your death quick. If you flee now, I will only destroy your engines. You can drift in space and think about your foolishness. If you stay, I will destroy you completely. You have 30 seconds to decide." "I am not leaving," Hyun Woo said. "These people need protection." "Then you will die protecting them." Vexter turned to his weapons officer. "All ships, target that vessel, full power. I want it turned to dust." Inside the small merchant ship Morning Star, Di-ho and Bora watched in horror. "He's going to fight them," Bora whispered. "One ship against 50. "He's insane," Di-ho said, but he could not look away from the viewscreen. The Thal fleet came alive. 50 warships turned their weapons toward the Indomitable, energy weapons charged, missile tubes loaded, every gun on every ship aimed at the single black vessel. "Fire," Vexter commanded. The space between the Thal fleet and the Indomitable filled with death. Thousands of plasma bolts streaked through the void. They glowed bright red and orange. Hundreds of missiles launched, leaving trails of fire. The concentrated firepower could have destroyed a space station. It could have cracked a moon in half. All of it focused on one ship. The weapons hit. Plasma bolts and missiles struck the Indomitable from every direction. The explosions were so bright that Di-ho had to shield his eyes. The blast lit up the entire system. It looked like a new sun had been born. "It's gone," Bora said sadly. "No ship could survive that." But as the light faded, the Indomitable was still there. It hung in space exactly as before. Not moving, not damaged, not even scratched. It looked like nothing had happened at all. On the Thal command ship, everyone was silent. Vexter stared at his screens. "Status," he shouted. "Direct hits confirmed, Commander," the weapons officer said. His voice shook. "Every weapon struck the target, but the target is unchanged." "Impossible," Vexter slammed his fist on his chair. "Nothing can withstand that much firepower. Scan it again." The sensors swept the Indomitable once more. This time they detected something. A faint shimmer around the ship, like heat waves in air. But this shimmer glowed very slightly with a blue color. "Shields, Commander," the tactical officer said. "But not like any shields we know. Our weapons did not even scratch them." Inside the Indomitable, Lieutenant Jaiwan sat at the tactical station. She was young but highly trained. Her fingers moved across the controls with practiced ease. "Captain, shields at 99.8%. The Thal attack registered as minimal impact." Captain Hyun-woo sat in the command chair. He was in his 40s with calm eyes and steady hands. He looked at the main view screen which showed the Thal fleet. "Minimal impact," he repeated. "That was their full power." "Yes, sir," Jaiwan confirmed. "All 50 ships fired simultaneously. Our shields barely noticed." Dr. Tiang spoke from the science station. He was the chief science officer and the oldest member of the crew. "The shield technology is performing exactly as designed, Captain. We could take that level of attack for approximately 72 hours before shields would fail." Hyun-woo nodded slowly. He opened a communication channel to the Thal fleet. "Commander Vexter, you have now attacked a vessel operating under the authority of Earth's defense forces. That was an act of war. However, I am a reasonable man. I will give you one chance to end this peacefully." Vexter's voice came back, filled with rage and confusion. "What are you? What kind of ship is that?" "The kind you should have avoided," Hyun-woo said simply. "You have 5 minutes to withdraw your fleet and allow these civilian ships to pass. If you do not comply, I will be forced to take action." "5 minutes," Vexter's voice rose higher. "You give me an ultimatum, you primitive from a backward world. I command the most powerful fleet in this sector. I have crushed entire planets. I have destroyed armies. And you think one single ship, can threaten me?" "I do not think it," Hyun-woo said calmly. "I know it. You now have 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Vexter roared in fury. "All ships, maximum power, every weapon. I want that ship destroyed now." The Thal fleet fired again. This time they held nothing back. Every energy weapon discharged at full power. Every missile tube emptied. The barrage was twice as intense as the first attack. The space around the Indomitable turned white with energy. The explosions could be seen from planets light years away. The attack continued for 2 full minutes. The Thal poured everything they had into destroying the human ship. Plasma, missiles, kinetic rounds, everything. When they finally stopped, their weapons needed time to recharge. The ships had used almost half their ammunition. The light faded again. The Indomitable still floated there, still perfect, still untouched. "Shields at 99.6%, Jaiwan reported. "Slight decrease from the extended barrage." Di-ho stared at the view screen from his merchant ship. His mouth hung open. What is that thing?" Bora shook her head in wonder. "I don't know, but it's human, it's from Earth. Somehow our people built that." Other civilian ships were sending messages now. Wonder and hope filled their transmissions. Could this strange vessel truly protect them? Could one ship really stand against the Thal Dominion? Hyun-woo's voice came over all channels. It was still calm, still measured, still completely controlled. 3 minutes have passed. You now have 2 minutes remaining." Vexter's voice had lost its mockery. Now it held something new, fear. "What manner of shields are those? What technology do you possess?" "Technology that allows us to keep our promises," Hyun-woo replied. 2 minutes, Commander. Use them wisely." Inside the Thal command ship, panic was beginning to spread. The crew looked at their commander, waiting for orders. Vexter stared at the human ship. His mind raced. How could primitives from Earth have such power? The Thal had studied Earth. They knew everything about humanity, or they thought they did. "Commander," his tactical officer said quietly, "perhaps we should withdraw. If we cannot harm that ship and it can harm us." "Silence," Vexter shouted, but doubt filled his eyes. "The Thal Dominion does not flee from anyone, especially not from humans." "1 minute," Hyanwu announced. Vexter made his decision. "All ships, form defensive pattern 7, prepare to ram that vessel. If weapons cannot destroy it, we will crush it with our hulls." The Thal warships began to move. They arranged themselves in a spear formation. 50 massive ships, ready to crash into the Indomitable at full speed. Hyanwu sighed. It was a sad sound. "They are not going to listen," he said to his crew. "Jai-1, demonstration mode. Show them what happens when they choose violence over reason." Jai-1's hands moved across her tactical controls. "Yes, Captain. Targeting solutions prepared. Weapons charging to 10% power." 10%? Tiong asked. "We only need 10%, Jai-1 said. The Indomitable's hull began to glow. Blue-white energy rippled across its dark surface. 10 small ports opened along its sides. Inside each port, something bright began to build. Energy, pure and focused, gathering for release. 30 seconds, Hyanwu said. Vexter saw the glow. "Attack, attack now." But he was too late. Hyanwu gave the order, "Fire." 10 beams of light shot out from the Indomitable. They were thin, like needles made of pure energy. Each beam was white with a blue edge. They moved faster than normal weapons, faster than missiles or plasma bolts. They crossed the space between the human ship and the Thal fleet in less than a second. Each beam found a target. Each beam struck a Thal warship with perfect accuracy. The beams did not spread or miss. They went exactly where they were aimed. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The beams touched the Thal ships and disappeared inside their hulls. Then the explosions began. 10 Thal warships exploded at the exact same moment. Not small explosions, massive ones. Their shields did nothing. Their armor did nothing. The beams had gone straight through everything like it was paper. The energy had traveled into the ship cores, into the reactor hearts, and caused them to overload. The light from 10 dying ships lit up the system. Deho shielded his eyes again. When the brightness faded, 10 of the Thal warships were simply gone. Not damaged, not crippled. Gone. Only floating debris remained where mighty warships had been just seconds before. The time from when Jai-1 pressed the fire button to when all 10 ships were destroyed. 1.3 seconds. Complete silence fell across every communication channel in the system. No one spoke. No one moved. Even the Thal fleet froze in place, unable to believe what they had just seen. Inside the Thal command ship, Vexter stared at his screens. His claws gripped his chair so hard they left marks. "Report," he whispered. His voice had no strength left. 10 ships destroyed, Commander, the tactical officer said. He sounded like he might be sick. Total casualties, approximately 8,000 crew, all ships obliterated in just over 1 second. How? Vexter breathed. How is that possible? Captain Hyanwu's voice came over the channel again, still calm, still measured, as if he had not just destroyed 10 ships and 8,000 lives. That was 10% power, Commander Vexter, 1/10 of what this ship can do. You now have 1 minute remaining to withdraw your fleet and leave this system. After that, I will have no choice but to remove you by force. Vexter's mind struggled to work. 10%. That devastating attack was only 10%. What could this ship do at full power? Could it destroy his entire fleet? Could it destroy a planet? Commander, his tactical officer said urgently, our remaining ships are requesting orders. Should we continue the attack? Continue? Vexter looked at him like he was insane. Did you not see what just happened? Yes, Commander, but if we flee, the Dominion High Command will. The Dominion High Command is not here, Vexter shouted. They are not facing this monster. He turned back to his screens, looking at the human ship. It hung there, patient and deadly, waiting for his answer. Inside the Indomitable, Jai-1 checked her tactical displays. Captain, several Thal ships are powering up their faster-than-light engines. They are preparing to flee. Hyun-woo nodded. Let them try. He touched a control on his chair. Dr. Ti-Yong, activate the dampening field. Ti-Yong's fingers moved across his science console. Field activating now, Captain. Full system coverage in 3 seconds. 2, 1, field active. Something changed in the space around the Valrose system. It was not visible to the eye, but every ship felt it immediately. Their faster-than-light engines stopped working. The special energy fields that allowed ships to travel between stars suddenly failed, not just on one ship, on every ship in the system. Every ship except the Indomitable. What is happening? Vexter shouted. Why are our jump drives failing? His engineer checked the systems frantically. Something is interfering with the jump field generators, Commander. There is an energy field filling this entire system. It is dampening all faster-than-light technology. Can we break through it? No, Commander. The field is too strong. Nothing can jump to light speed while it is active. Vexter felt true fear for the first time in his life. His fleet was trapped. They could not flee. They could not escape. They were at the mercy of the human ship. 40 ships remain, Commander, the tactical officer said quietly. 8,000 crew on each ship, 320,000 lives. What are your orders? 30 seconds remained on Hyun-woo's deadline. Vexter watched the time count down. Each second felt like forever. His entire career, he had been the one giving ultimatums. He had been the one with overwhelming power. He had been the one that others feared. Now he understood how all those other species had felt, the helplessness, the terror, the knowledge that death was one decision away. 10 seconds, Hyun-woo announced. Commander, the tactical officer's voice broke. Vexter made his choice. Hail the human ship, he said. His voice was bitter but steady. Full surrender. He opened the communication channel himself. Captain Hyun-woo of Earth, this is Commander Vexter of the Thal Dominion. I offer unconditional surrender. Please do not destroy my fleet. The words tasted like poison in his mouth. A Thal commander surrendering to a human. It went against everything he had been taught, everything he believed. But he could not let his crew die for his pride. 5 seconds, Hyun-woo said. Then he paused. Surrender accepted, Commander, but there will be conditions. Anything, Vexter said. He hated how desperate he sounded. Name your terms. First, you will allow all civilian ships in this system to pass freely. Second, you will broadcast a message to the Thal Dominion High Command. A message I will give you. Third, you will withdraw your fleet to Thal space and not return to this sector for any reason. Do you agree to these terms? Vexter wanted to refuse. He wanted to fight. But he looked at the human ship and remembered the 10 vessels it had destroyed in barely more than 1 second. I agree, he said. Good, Hyun-woo's tone softened slightly. Jai-1, lower the dampening field. Allow their faster-than-light engines to function again. The field disappeared as quickly as it had appeared. Throughout the Thal fleet, jump drives came back online. The ships could flee now if they wanted to, but none of them moved. They waited for orders from their broken commander. Inside the Morning Star, Bora was crying. It's over, she said. We're safe. That ship saved us. Di-ho nodded, unable to speak. He watched the black vessel on his screen. One ship. One single human ship had faced down the entire Thal fleet and won without taking a single hit, without losing a single life on their side. How, Di-ho finally managed to say, how did Earth build something like that? Other civilian ships were asking the same question. The communication channels filled with wonder and confusion. ships from a dozen different species, all trying to understand what they had just witnessed. Hyun-woo opened a channel to all civilian vessels. "This is Captain Hyun-woo of the Indomitable. You are all free to continue your journeys. We apologize for the danger you faced. Safe travels to all of you." A Vrexian cargo captain responded first. "Captain Hyun-woo, we owe you our lives, but please tell us, what is this ship? We have never seen or heard of anything like it." There was a pause before Hyun-woo answered. "The Indomitable is an experimental vessel from the Terra Defense Force. It represents 80 years of secret development. Humanity has been watching the galaxy for a long time. We chose not to reveal ourselves until it became necessary." 80 years, another voice asked. "But Earth has only had serious space travel for 100 years." "We learned early that the galaxy was a dangerous place," Hyun-woo said. "We decided to prepare ourselves before making our presence truly known. Now that preparation is complete." Vexter was listening to this exchange. His mind was reeling. 80 years of secret development. You have been hiding your true capabilities this entire time. "Not hiding, Commander, preparing. There is a difference." Hyun-woo's voice became more serious. "Now for the message you will send to your high command. You will tell them exactly what happened here. You will tell them about this ship and its capabilities. And you will tell them that Earth has 30 ships like the Indomitable. Each one is fully operational and ready to defend any innocent vessels from aggression." 30 ships. Vexter's blood ran cold. If one ship could destroy 10 warships in a second, what could 30 ships do? They could wipe out the entire Thal fleet. They could attack the Thal homeworld itself. The balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted completely. "You will also tell your high command this," Hyun-woo continued. "Earth does not seek war. We do not want territory. We do not want to rule others, but we will protect the innocent. We will stop aggression wherever we find it. The Thal Dominion has expanded through fear and violence for too long. That ends today." "And if the Dominion refuses," Vexter asked, "if we decide to fight?" "Then we will be forced to defend ourselves and others," Hyun-woo said. "But I hope it does not come to that. War benefits no one, Commander, even a war that you would lose very badly." The words were polite, but the meaning was clear. If the Thal wanted a fight, Earth would give them one, and the Thal would lose. Vexter looked at his remaining ships, 40 vessels that had been unable to stop one human ship. "Message understood, Captain. We will withdraw immediately and deliver your words to the High Command." "One more thing," Hyun-woo said. "The civilian ships you threatened. They were carrying medicine, food, and supplies to people in need. The Thal Dominion will compensate them for the danger and delays you caused. Each ship will receive payment equal to twice their cargo value. Your government will send this compensation within 30 days. That is a lot of credits," Vexter said weakly. "Then your government should consider the cost of aggression," Hyun-woo replied. "Perhaps it will encourage them to choose peace in the future. You are dismissed, Commander. Leave this system." The Thal fleet began to move. Slowly, carefully, the 40 surviving warships turned away from the Indomitable. They gathered together and began the jump sequence for faster-than-light travel. Within minutes, they were gone, fled back to Thal space. The civilian ships remained, floating in stunned silence. Finally, Deho activated his communication system. "Captain Hyun-woo, this is the Morning Star. Thank you. Thank you for saving us." "You are welcome, Captain Deho," Hyun-woo said warmly. "I received your distress signal. I am glad we arrived in time." "Will you escort us to safety?" Bora asked hopefully. "I will do better than that," Hyun-woo replied. "All civilian vessels, you are invited to follow the Indomitable to the nearest safe port. We will ensure your safe passage." One by one, the civilian ships agreed. They fell into formation behind the black vessel that had saved them all. Together, they began their journey through space. The convoy of civilian ships traveled through space for several hours. The Indomitable led them like a dark guardian angel. Diho kept his merchant ship near the middle of the formation. He felt safer there, surrounded by other vessels and protected by the mysterious human warship. Bora had not stopped looking at the Indomitable since they started moving. "I still cannot believe what we saw," she said. "One ship, just one." "I know," Diho replied. He was looking at the data his sensors had collected during the battle. The information was incomplete. The Indomitable still blocked most scanning attempts, but what little data he had was incredible. The power readings make no sense. That ship generated more energy in those few seconds than our entire vessel produces in a month. "Do you think they really have 30 ships like it?" Bora asked. Diho nodded slowly. "I think if Captain Hyun-woo said it, then it is true. He does not seem like a man who lies." Other civilian ships were having similar conversations. The communication channels buzzed with speculation and wonder. Everyone wanted to know more about Earth and its hidden power. Some ships were already planning to establish trade routes to human space. Others talked about hearing human ships for protection. The galaxy had dismissed Earth as primitive and weak. That had been a terrible mistake. A hailing frequency opened. It was Captain Hyun-woo. "Captain Diho, would you and your navigator care to come aboard the Indomitable? I would like to speak with you." Diho and Bora looked at each other in surprise. "You want us to board your ship?" Diho asked. "If you are willing. I promise you are in no danger. In fact, I believe you will find it educational. We are making good time, and a short visit will not delay the convoy." Bora nodded eagerly. Diho smiled at her enthusiasm. "We would be honored, Captain Hyun-woo." "Excellent. My shuttle will dock with your vessel in 15 minutes. Diho had expected the shuttle to be as impressive as the Indomitable. He was not disappointed. The small craft that attached to the Morning Star's airlock was sleek and fast. It had the same dark hull and smooth lines as the warship. When the airlock opened, a young woman in a dark blue uniform stood waiting. "I am Lieutenant Jaiwon," she said with a polite bow. "Please follow me." The interior of the shuttle was clean and efficient. Everything had a purpose. Nothing was wasted. Jaiwon guided them to comfortable seats, and the shuttle detached smoothly from the Morning Star. "You were the one who fired the weapons," Bora said suddenly. "We heard you talking on the communication channels during the battle." Jaiwon nodded. "I am the tactical officer. Weapon systems are my responsibility." "Those beams that destroyed the Thal ships," Diho said. "What were they?" "Focused energy projectors," Jaiwon replied. "We call them FEPs. They concentrate power into a very small point and can penetrate almost any known shield or armor. At full power, one FEP can destroy a capital ship. At 10%, they can damage them severely." "You used 10%, Bora said, "but you destroyed them completely." Jaiwon's expression turned sad. "We targeted their reactor cores. The destruction came from their own power plants overloading, not from our weapons directly. It is more efficient that way. Less energy required." The shuttle approached the Indomitable. Up close, the warship was even more impressive. It was huge, at least 3 kilometers long. Its dark hull seemed to drink in light rather than reflect it. No windows showed. No obvious weapons pointed out. It looked smooth and perfect. They docked with a small bay on the ship's side. When they stepped out of the shuttle, Diho gasped. The interior of the Indomitable was nothing like he expected. Most warships were cramped and industrial. Metal walls, harsh lights, the smell of oil and recycled air. This was different. The corridors were wide and clean. Soft lighting made everything easy to see without hurting the eyes. The walls looked like they were made of something between metal and ceramic. Everything felt advanced and carefully designed. Jaiwon led them through several corridors to a lift. "The captain is waiting for you on the command deck," she explained. The lift moved so smoothly they barely felt it accelerate. When the doors opened, they stepped onto the bridge of the Indomitable. Deho stopped and stared. The room was large and organized. Crew members sat at various stations, monitoring displays and controls. But what caught his attention was the main view screen. It showed space around them with perfect clarity, as if they were looking through a window rather than at a screen. "Welcome aboard," a calm voice said. Captain Hyun-woo stood from his command chair. He was a man in his 40s with kind eyes and a strong presence. He walked over and shook their hands in the human custom. "Thank you for coming. I know you must be curious about many things." "Curious is not a strong enough word," Deho admitted. "Captain, what we saw today, it changes everything we thought we knew about Earth." Hyun-woo nodded. "I understand, please sit." He gestured to some chairs near his command station. When they were seated, he continued. "What you saw today is the result of a very long story. Would you like to hear it?" "Yes," Bora said immediately. "Please." Hyun-woo smiled. 83 years ago, a human survey ship discovered something in the outer reaches of our solar system. In the Kuiper belt, beyond the orbit of Neptune, they found a derelict vessel, an alien spacecraft, dead and silent, floating in the dark. "Alien?" Deho leaned forward. "You mean from a species we don't know?" "Exactly. The ship was very old, perhaps thousands of years old. It was damaged beyond repair. But inside it we found technology unlike anything the galaxy currently uses. Computers that thought in ways we had never imagined. Energy systems that could power a city from a device the size of my hand. Weapons that could. Well, you saw what they could do." Dr. Tiong spoke up from the science station. "I was one of the first scientists to study the derelict. We spent 20 years just learning how to read their data systems. Another 30 years reverse engineering their technology. And the last 33 years adapting it for human use and building ships like this one." "Who were they?" Bora asked. "The aliens who built that ship." Tiong shook his head. "We don't know. Their written language is partially decoded, but we cannot find any references to them in galactic history. Either they existed before current civilization or they came from beyond known space. Perhaps both. The ship was heading toward the galactic core when it was damaged. We may never know their full story." Hyun-woo continued the explanation. "When Earth first reached the stars, we were excited. We expected to join a peaceful galactic community. Instead, we found the Thal Dominion expanding through violence. We found the Crexian Empire enslaving primitive species. We saw wars and cruelty everywhere we looked." "We were weak then," Deho said. "Everyone knew it." "Yes, and we realized that if we revealed our true intentions to protect the innocent and promote peace, we would become targets. So we made a choice. We pretended to be exactly what everyone thought we were. Simple farmers and merchants, friendly but harmless, primitive but peaceful. While secretly building a fleet," Bora breathed. 30 ships, Hyun-woo confirmed. "Each one based on the technology from the derelict, each one capable of what you saw today. We trained crews in secret. We built shipyards in the deep dark between stars where no one would find them, and we watched. We studied every major power in the galaxy. We learned their weapons, their tactics, their weaknesses." Jaewon pulled up a holographic display. It showed star charts marked with dozens of colored zones. "We have been tracking aggressive actions by multiple species for decades. The Thal Dominion, the Crexian Empire, the Vorth Collective, all of them believe they can take what they want through force." "Why reveal yourselves now?" Deho asked. "Why not wait longer?" Hyun-woo's expression became serious. "Because people were suffering, species were being enslaved, colonies were being destroyed. We had the power to stop it and we were doing nothing. That weighed on us. Finally, Earth's leadership decided we were ready to show the galaxy who we really are." "You picked our distress call as your moment?" Bora asked. "No," Hyun-woo said gently. "We have been gradually revealing ourselves for the past 6 months. Small incidents. Single ships like the Indomitable appearing where bullies thought they could act with impunity. But the Thal Dominion is the biggest threat in this sector. What happened today will send a message to everyone. That Earth is not weak, Diho said. That Earth will not tolerate cruelty, Hyunwoo corrected. We are not interested in conquest. We do not want an empire, but we will protect those who cannot protect themselves. The Thal fleet learned that lesson today. Others will learn it in the coming months. Tiang brought up another display. This is the current deployment of the Terra Defense Force. 30 ships spread across the galaxy, each one monitoring areas where aggressive powers operate. When civilians are threatened, we respond. What about planets? Bora asked. Can your ships defend entire worlds? Yes, Jaiwan said. The FEP weapons can strike planetary targets from orbit with perfect accuracy. We could destroy military installations while leaving civilian areas completely untouched. We could also establish a shield over a planet that would protect it from orbital bombardment. You have thought of everything, Diho said with awe. We tried to, Hyunwoo replied. We knew that when we finally revealed our true strength, it would shock the galaxy. We wanted to be ready for the consequences, ready to defend our choice, ready to follow through on our promises. The intercom beeped. A voice spoke. Captain, we are approaching the Nexus station. The civilian convoy will be safe there. Thank you, Hyunwoo replied. He turned back to Diho and Bora. I invited you here for a reason beyond just explaining Earth's secrets. You were the ones who sent the distress signal. Your courage in calling for help, even when you thought no help existed, is admirable. I wanted to thank you personally. Diho felt his face grow warm. We only did what anyone would do. No, Hyunwoo said firmly. Many would have stayed silent out of fear. You reached out. You trusted that someone might hear and might care enough to respond. That trust was not misplaced. Bora wiped tears from her eyes. What happens now? The Thal will be angry. They might retaliate. Let them try, Jaiwan said with quiet confidence. They saw what one ship can do. If they want to face all 30, we will be ready. Hyunwoo stood and walked to the main view screen. He looked out at the stars. What happens now is change. The galaxy has operated under certain rules for a long time. The strong take from the weak. The aggressive conquer the peaceful. That era is ending. Earth is making sure of it. Will there be war? Diho asked quietly. Perhaps, probably not. Most aggressive powers are bullies. They only fight when they know they will win. Now they know they cannot win against us. That will make them think twice. It will save lives. The Indomitable and its convoy of civilian ships approached Nexus Station. The huge space station was neutral territory, run by no single species. It was safe for all. The Nexus Station grew larger on the view screen as the convoy approached. The massive structure spun slowly in space, its lights welcoming travelers from across the galaxy. Dozens of ships from various species were docked at its many ports. It was one of the few truly neutral places in known space, where even enemies could meet without fear. All civilian vessels, Captain Hyunwoo announced over the open channel. You have reached safety. The Nexus Station will provide everything you need, docking berths, supplies, and security. Your journeys can continue from here. Grateful messages flooded back from the convoy. Captains from a dozen different species offered thanks in their own languages. Some offered payment, which Hyunwoo politely declined. Others asked if they could hire human ships for protection in the future. Hyunwoo told them to contact the Terra embassy on the station. We have an embassy here, Diho asked in surprise. He and Bora were still on the Indomitable's bridge. As of 3 weeks ago, yes, Hyunwoo replied with a small smile. Earth has been establishing diplomatic presence at major neutral stations throughout the galaxy. We are not hiding anymore. Jaiwan escorted them back to the shuttle for their return to the Morning Star. Before they left, Hyunwoo shook their hands again. Safe travels, Captain Diho, Navigator Bora. I hope your medical supplies reach the colony in time. They will, thanks to you, Diho said. Captain, one last question. What happens to the Thal Dominion now? Hyun-woo considered the question carefully. That depends on them. If they choose peace and withdraw from occupied territories, we will welcome them into the galactic community as equals. If they choose continued aggression, they will face consequences. The choice is theirs. And you believe they will choose wisely. I believe they will choose survival, Hyun-woo said. When faced with impossible odds, even the proudest warrior learns wisdom. At least I hope so. Violence should always be the last option, not the first. As Diho and Bora's shuttle flew back to the Morning Star, they watched the Indomitable through the viewport. The dark ship remained at the edge of the station's space, a silent guardian watching over the civilian vessels it had saved. Everything is different now, Bora said quietly. The galaxy will never be the same. No, Diho agreed, but maybe that is a good thing. Across the galaxy, news of the incident spread like wildfire. Ships that had been in the convoy told their stories. Each version grew slightly more dramatic in the telling, but the core facts remained the same. One human warship had faced a Thal Dominion fleet and won. Easily, completely, decisively. On the Thal homeworld, Commander Vexter delivered his report to the High Command. He stood before 7 of the most powerful Thal leaders in the Empire. His uniform was perfect, but his pride was shattered. You surrendered, one of the commanders growled. The mighty Thal Dominion surrendered to primitives from Earth. I saved 300,000 lives, Vexter replied firmly. I witnessed technology beyond anything in our databases. That human ship could have destroyed my entire fleet in minutes, perhaps seconds. I made the only choice that allowed my crews to return home. Another commander leaned forward. Describe these weapons again, everything you saw. Vexter told them everything. The shields that absorbed attacks without any visible damage. The energy beams that destroyed 10 warships in barely over 1 second. The dampening field that prevented faster-than-light travel. The calm certainty in the human captain's voice that spoke of even greater power held in reserve. And they claimed to have 30 of these ships, a female commander asked. Yes, Commander, 30 ships, each apparently identical to the one I faced. The human captain said they have been building them in secret for 80 years. Silence fell over the chamber. The Thal High Command was facing a truth they had never considered. They were not the strongest power in the galaxy. Not anymore. Perhaps they never had been. They had just been lucky that Earth chose not to reveal itself until now. What are your recommendations, Vexter? The senior commander asked. Vexter chose his words carefully. The humans do not want territory. They do not seek to destroy us, but they will stop our expansion. If we fight them, we will lose. Badly. I recommend we open diplomatic channels immediately and negotiate a peace treaty. The Thal do not negotiate from weakness. Then we will die from pride, Vexter said bluntly. I saw what one of their ships can do. I will not send our fleet against 30 of them. That would not be battle, it would be execution. The debate continued for hours. Some commanders wanted war. Others wanted to pretend the incident never happened. But eventually, wisdom won. The Thal High Command voted to recall all expansion fleets and send diplomatic envoys to Earth. It was the first time in 200 years that the Thal Dominion had chosen peace over conquest. Similar conversations were happening in the capitals of every major aggressive power. The Krexian Empire called an emergency session. The Vorth Collective demanded information about Earth's capabilities. Even the more peaceful species were suddenly very interested in establishing relations with humanity. Earth's embassies found themselves overwhelmed with requests for meetings. Species that had barely acknowledged humanity's existence now wanted trade agreements, defense pacts, and cultural exchanges. The Terra Defense Force received applications from young people of dozens species who wanted to join and learn from the humans. On Earth itself, the revelation of the TDF and its secret fleet caused its own upheaval. Citizens who had thought their world was weak and unprotected suddenly learned the truth. Their government had been preparing for decades, building ships, training crews, creating a defense force that could stand against any threat. There were protests from some who felt they should have been told. There were celebrations from others who felt proud of their world's achievements. Politicians debated whether the secret had been necessary. But ultimately, most humans agreed with the decision. Sometimes, strength must be hidden until the moment it is needed. 3 weeks after the incident at Valro's system, Captain Hyun-woo received new orders. The Indomitable was to patrol the border regions between Thal and neutral space, ensuring the Dominion honored its withdrawal agreement. "It seems we will be here for a while," he told his crew. "The Thal are testing our resolve, moving slowly, seeing if we truly mean what we say." "Do we get to demonstrate again?" Jaewon asked hopefully. Hyun-woo smiled. "I hope not. Every shot we fire means someone dies. Even if they are aggressors, I prefer they choose life and learn better ways." Dr. Ti-Yong looked up from his science station. "Captain, I am receiving a priority message from Earth. Terra Defense Command wants a full report on the Indomitable's performance during the encounter." "Tell them everything worked perfectly," Hyun-woo replied. "Shields, weapons, engines, dampening field, all systems performed beyond specifications. The ship is ready for extended deployment." "Should I mention that we only use 10% power?" "Definitely mention that," Hyun-woo said with a slight grin. "I want command to know we barely scratched the surface of this ship's capabilities." Across the galaxy, the balance of power continued to shift. Aggressive species became more cautious. Peaceful species became more confident. Trade routes that had been dangerous for decades suddenly became safe as bullies thought twice about attacking merchant vessels. The galaxy was learning a new truth. Earth was not primitive. Earth was not weak. Earth had simply been patient, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. And now that moment had arrived. Diho and Bora successfully delivered their medical supplies to the Kepler colony. The grateful colonists asked how they managed to get through the Thal blockade. Diho told them the story of the dark ship that appeared from nowhere and saved them all. "A human ship?" one colonist asked in wonder. "Earth sent a warship to protect a simple merchant vessel." "Not just to protect us," Bora explained. "To protect everyone. To show the galaxy that aggression will no longer be tolerated. To prove that strength can be used for good rather than evil." The colonists spread the word. More stories joined the growing legend of Earth's secret fleet. Some stories were accurate, others were exaggerated, but all of them carried the same message. Humanity was watching. Humanity was ready, and humanity would protect the innocent. Months passed. The Thal Dominion completed its withdrawal from occupied territories. Other aggressive powers followed suit, not wanting to face Earth's response. Trade flourished in regions that had been war zones. New alliances formed between species that had been enemies. It was not perfect peace. There were still conflicts and disagreements, but the worst aggression stopped. The worst cruelty ended, because everyone knew that somewhere in the dark between the stars, 30 human ships were watching and waiting. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Hyun-woo looked at the stars and felt satisfaction. This was what they had built the fleet for, not to conquer, not to destroy, but to protect, to give hope to the hopeless and safety to the vulnerable. "Captain," Jaewon said, "we are receiving another distress signal. A convoy of refugee ships is being harassed by pirates near the Kilos system." Hyun-woo sat up in his command chair. "Set course for Kilos, maximum speed." "Yes, sir." The Indomitable turned smoothly and began to accelerate. Within seconds, it jumped to faster-than-light speed, racing to help those in need. Jaewon smiled. "I love this job." "So do I," Hyun-woo agreed. "So do I." The dark ship disappeared into the depths of space, leaving only the faint distortion of its passage. Another call for help. Another chance to prove that strength and compassion could work together. Another opportunity to show the galaxy what humanity truly stood for. Not war, not conquest, not dominance, but protection, justice, peace through strength and mercy. The unknown Terran battleship had appeared and changed everything. In 5 minutes, it had destroyed a fleet and shattered old assumptions. But in the months that followed, it did something even more important. It gave hope to billions of beings across the galaxy who had thought themselves powerless. They were not powerless anymore. Earth was watching, Earth was ready, and Earth would come when called. The galaxy would never forget the day when one dark ship faced 50 warships and won without breaking stride. It became a turning point in galactic history. The moment when everything changed. The moment when humanity stepped out of the shadows and declared its true purpose. To protect the innocent, to stop aggression, to build a better galaxy for all species, one act of courage at a time, one saved ship at a time, one changed heart at a time. The Indomitable and its sister ships continued their patrols, silent guardians in the darkness, watching, waiting, ready to respond when needed. The galaxy was learning that humanity kept its promises, both the promise to help those in need and the promise to stop those who would harm others. It was a new era, an era where strength served peace rather than conquest, where the weak could call for help and know that help would come, where bullies faced consequences instead of victory. All because 83 years ago, humans found a derelict ship in the darkness and chose to use what they learned for good rather than evil. All because when Earth finally revealed its power, it used that power to protect rather than dominate. The unknown battleship had appeared. The Thal fleet had ceased to exist within 5 minutes, and the galaxy became a better place because of it.